Okay guys, welcome back into it. So right now I'm going to be working on the gauntlet again, and I believe we last left off with putting on the bottom pieces of the skin, and I'm now working on assembling the hand piece, and in order to do this we're going to be using some rivets. If you've never worked with rivets before, they're really super duper simple to use, and I'll show you guys a diagram in just a minute here on how to assemble them. I'm just explaining how each piece is gonna go into the gauntlet here to attach the hand to the wrist joint and then to the arm bracer itself. The little one with that tiny crystal in the front, that is the part that is going to sit directly above where your wrist bends, and it allows you to get the illusion that everything's gonna blend and it won't just like pull apart. These are the tools that you need to set them. I can put links in the description to where you guys can purchase these tools if you need to, but pretty much any leather shop will sell them. Okay, so there's two really important ones you're going to need, and that is the Rivet setter tool, and you're also going to need the rivets that go together, which I like to use snap rivets, which this is how you assemble them here. As you can see, you have the setter, and then there's the post or the anvil. So the anvil is what goes on the bottom. That's the little metal piece that holds it all together, and I use the concave one, so there's like a little round depression in it for you to put the head of your rivet in. And it is double-sided, so when you do the one side of the rivet, which is the post, that's the little one right over there on the left-hand side. If you look right above the anvil, it's a little one that kind of looks like a round disc with a little pole sticking up. That is the post. That one is the one that is going to go on the very bottom piece of whatever you're working on. So you put that one on the bottom. Whatever you're binding goes into it. So you can see that there's little arrows pointing to the thing that says leather. In this case, it's foam. So that bottom post would go into the leather, and then you have the stud, which looks like that. I don't really know what to describe it. Kind of like a little top hat. You would take your stud and put your stud on the other side of that. You'll notice when you do this that the top of the post will stick through the center of it. You press everything together nice and tight, you put your setter on top, and then you just give it a couple whacks with a hammer really good. Or a rivet setting hammer. You can hit it with a rock as long as you just use the tool in it. So basically that's all you do for that piece, and that's just one of the pieces. Then on the opposite piece that you're going to be joining together, you take the cap and make sure that your anvil is concave, because the top of your the top of your rivet is going to have like a nice little button shape to it, and you want to keep it concave like that. You don't want it to get super flat and crushed. So make sure that you put it head down on the top of whatever you're going to set. This is the part that will show, so you have to make sure that you have it set up correctly. And then you put the socket on the opposite side of that piece of leather or foam. Make sure when you do put the socket that the round hollow part is the part that is showing on the opposite side. The tiny small piece with just a hole in the top is the one that will connect to the bottom of the cap on the other side. You put all these different pieces together, lay it down on your anvil, and then hit it with the setter a couple times until it binds it. And then, finally, when you have all of that set up together, you will then take both pieces, press the stud into the socket so that you bind the two, and just use a bit of pressure. I have weak hands, so I have to use my hammer. And you just whack it really good until you hear it pop, and it will click the two pieces together. The reason why I use rivets is because the rivets allow whatever you're binding to still move and swivel, so you get a little bit more leeway, especially when costuming. Fabric moves, your body moves. So this is a really good way to join two pieces together securely while still allowing them to move without absolutely destroying whatever you're doing. But let's go ahead and get back into the tutorial. So right now I'm just doing what I just explained to you guys, which is setting those rivets in there correctly. And you can see I had to trade out my tool. I had the wrong one in my hand. I have probably 10 or 12 of these little rivet setters that I picked up at a yard sale. I mean, you can find them just about anywhere, but I will leave a link in the description to where you can pick up these tools if you want them. I highly recommend the Leather Tandy company. Leather Tandy? Tandy Leather. Tandy Leather, excuse me. A little dyslexic today. And they make the best stuff. Okay, so it goes without saying here that when I'm joining up these two pieces, I'm making sure that the sides line up with the little swirl decals so that they create a seamless illusion that this is one cohesive piece. It is important to keep this in mind when you're doing your design so that you don't end up having two really awkwardly connecting pieces. I factored this in when I did my templates. If you would like more in-depth explanations about stuff like this, please do let me know. I'd be happy to help. But I do need it called out so that I can know to make a video on how to do that for you guys. And now that I'm getting these pieces set up, I've punched the holes so that I know where to stick my rivets. It is a little difficult with this 3mm foam to get the rivet to set in there properly because it is so thick. It is super hard to get the two pieces to connect properly. And you do want to make sure that they set accurately. A lot of rivet work and leather work, or just costumery in general. Oh, my camera. I'm hammering so aggressively that I am actually causing my camera to shift on its stand that it's sitting on. It tends to happen often. I'm an aggressive person when it comes to joining them because I do not want these joints to pop open. And now I'm running the wiring for my LEDs in this gauntlet so you can see them. Isn't that cool? I have to make sure that they all line up properly on the inside here, and then I have to secure them in place. I use, what is it, E6000 or E3000, something like that. It's a type of polymer glue that is flexible when it dries. And then all I had to do was just stick all the different pieces together and glue that little band on the bottom of the hand. And you can see the gauntlets glowing here and how effective the LEDs are, how bright they are. I will put a picture down for you guys to see them side by side when they're on and off so that you can get a better idea of what they look like. So here's a photograph of the two pieces that I did. This is all just the same gauntlet. I just took two different pictures of it when it's off versus where it's on. And you can see the effectiveness of the LEDs and the way that I've built these crystals in here to give this awesome glow that this gauntlet has. I mean, the pictures do not do it justice. It is so cool to see this thing glowing in person. I cannot wait to see what the customer who purchased it is going to think of when I have the set done. It's going to be so cool. I cannot wait. I'm super duper excited. And now we are going to move into the, excuse me, I'm a little tongue-tied today. We are going to move into the claws, which is kind of the cool part of this whole project that makes it look like this. As I am working on these, I pre-cast all the claws from a master mold that I made from a piece I sculpted. I cast them with a type of semi-translucent resin that was dyed using food coloring. If you want to learn more about resin, let me know. I'll make a tutorial. Before they're sanded and after, I apply just a really thin little coating of some clear nail polish. It adds just enough of a protective layer and a nice shine. You can use Mod Podge Ultra Luster. I know that stuff works pretty good too. And there is a resin polish, but it does require a polishing belt to be able to effectively use it. And unfortunately, I do not own a polishing belt. I really, really wish I did, but you work with what you've got, and I've got clear nail polish, so it works just as good. It's cheap, it's easy, it's fast. You just have to paint it on each piece after they've been sanded, and then just let them all dry. And the only reason you sand them is to remove any excess lines from the mold. And now that all the pieces have dried, I'm going to move into assembling the fingers. which requires me to punch holes in all of the little edge pieces that stick out. You'll see those little flaps on there. I just have to punch a hole in the center of each one, and I'll zoom in here so you guys can better see how I attach them. I am taking 2 of the pole rivets. See that? The ones, the little ones with the caps on them. Put the claw in like that so that the top curve matches up with the little rivet right there. And then just smash it with your hammer a few times, nice and aggressively there, so it moves your camera all over the place. And you want to do that with every single one of the claws in there so that they are nice and secure. And the reason why I use the bottom piece of a rivet like that is because when you smash the 2 pieces together, they sort of expand out and they hook into the resin, so they prevent it from being able to wriggle free. And after I have set them, I do fill the inside of that joint with some of that E6000 or E3000, whatever the hell it's called. I fill it with that stuff so that it creates a nice seal that keeps everything together and it prevents it from slipping out or moving. This is the part of the project that is very time consuming, of just securing all these pieces and making sure that they all sit together properly and that nothing pops out. I do want to mention that you should be super duper careful when you're trying to join these 2, especially if you're using polymer claws. I've tried that once and I have split so many of them because there's too much pressure on the little joint. Be super duper careful. I've destroyed countless claws and I've had to completely redo them. And the hard thing with doing these claws is that because they are made from resin and a clear resin, it takes 72 hours to cure, so don't waste it if you do that. It's a lot of time. Now I am going to work on connecting all the fingers together, which is super simple. All those little pre-punched holes that I did, I'm simply using little pop rivets, which I will leave a link to in the description for you guys to see where you can purchase those. And then it's just as simple as taking one, sticking it through, and popping the bottom piece in. They literally just click together and you'll hear them pop. Assemble all the claws, and once they're all done, then you just have to punch holes in the top of the hand so that you can connect the fingers to the hand. Make sure that it goes all the way through the fabric as well on the back. And if you rigged any LEDs, please don't poke your LEDs. I really hope the LEDs aren't that high up in your fingers, but... And this is the kind of tricky part when you go to layer the fingers together. The middle finger should be on top of the pointer finger and on top of the ring finger. So when you go to assemble the ring finger, make sure that the middle finger flanges sit on top of it. This just helps it look more cohesive and it improves the functionality of it a little bit. And then the pinky finger should just sit underneath the ring finger. Line them up and make sure that they are finger length. And there you have it. So that's all for this part of the tutorial. I will have a whole bunch of goodie links in the description for you guys to find the products that I use in here. The anvil, the setter, the rivets, and the little snap rivets, all that good stuff. If you do want to learn more about how to work with resin and make the claws and stuff like that, and the whole process of how I did that, I'd be more than happy to show you guys. Just leave me a comment below and let me know. I'll make a separate video so you can better understand how I make resin claws, especially when it comes to that clear resin, because that is a little bit trickier than just the simple white cast. And there is a couple processes involved that I did not show on camera simply because they just take forever to do. The next video I have will be the finishing touches for this gauntlet. I'm so excited that it's almost done, and if you guys are making these along with me, I mean, please show me. I would love to see what you're able to do with my advice. We are so close to being done, and there's so many great techniques at work here. People are so imaginative, and I can't wait to see what sort of things you guys come up with if you make these. But I do want to thank you guys so much for watching and taking the time to listen to me ramble on and on and on. And if you're going to stick around, be sure to look out for the next video. I should have it posted within a week or so. I'm really hoping to have both pairs, or excuse me, the pair of these gauntlets done within the next week to 2 weeks. It all depends on my work schedule. But thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out the other videos on my channel and subscribe if you enjoy what I'm doing and you want to see more. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day and an awesome life.